Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is round 2 of the League Challenge that happened at Die Hard Games on February 15th, 2024. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format anyone wants, really. More info in the description. League Cup, Saturday, February 24th at 11 a.m., and Temporal Forces pre-releases starting Saturday, March 9th at 1 p.m. All Central Time, all at Die Hard Games, and check out Pokemon's event locator for premier events at the shop, such as League Challenges, League Cups, and pre-releases. Please hit that like button right quick, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, say what you need to say in the comments, and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's get into this game. On the left, Lost Zone variant. On the right, Mew. Looks like our Mew players kicking things off for us with a infamous Battle VIP pass. You guys know what that one does by this time, right? Let me know in the comments. Alright, yeah, I don't see any replies in the comments yet, so I'll just let you guys know that you can only play a Battle VIP pass on your first turn, but when you do, search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto the bench. Depending on what's in the hand, we could see a Genesect and a Mew found off of this Battle VIP pass. But, like I said, really just depends on what's in the hand. This Mew VMAX deck is going to want to go wide on its board as quickly as possible in order to start fueling that Fusion Strike system on that Genesect V. Genesect V and Mew V found, put onto the bench, double turbo energy attached to that Mew. And there we go, we got the Forest Seal Stone attached to the Genesect, Ultra Ball being played to discard a couple cards, and search the deck for a Pokemon card. Very good, getting rid of that other Forest Seal Stone, as another Mew V is found. And we're going to start Fusion Strike systeming. That ability on the Genesect lets you draw cards for how many Fusion Strike Pokemon you have in play, up to for how many that you have in play. So with 4 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play, Fusion Strike system can currently draw up to 3 cards, since there is 1 card in hand currently. So we'll see if that card is playable before the Fusion Strike system. Doesn't look like it. Fusion Strike system number 1 to draw up to 4 cards. Again, since there's 4 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. On your side of the field, on Mew's side of the field, of course. And let's see what the top 3 cards have gifted our Mew VMAX player. Doesn't look like much. I think I see power tablets, but yeah, you probably want to hold that. You can also use the Forest Seal Stone to find another Battle VIP pass and totally fill your board, but you really want that Forest Seal Stone for, the missing piece later. So our Mew player is just going to pass things over to our Lost Zone player, who starts out with a Battle VIP pass of their own. Now we get the fun task of trying to figure out what variant of Lost Zone this is. And I guess we'll find out as the game goes on. I think I seen a Minior in there. I didn't really see any kind of energy that gave anything away. It could just be a quad Cramorant build as well. Either way, Battle VIP Pass is going to find a couple of Comfey to put onto the bench. That deck's getting nice and shuffled, so I imagine we'll be seeing a couple of flower selecting in our near future. This Lost Zone deck wants to get as many cards into the Lost Zone as quickly as they can in order to start meeting their Lost Zone thresholds. First with this Cramorant, needing 4 or more cards in the Lost Zone in order for it to use its attack for free, thanks to its Lost Provisions ability, but no cards to the Lost Zone. Just another Cramorant hitting the bench and things being passed over back to Mew. Ouch. So this single prize base deck, as it seems to be over on the left, can't afford to miss a turn like that, but you really can't give Mew too many turns, as Mew loves to aggressively run away with the game. Either way, a Fusion Strike energy is put onto that Genesect V, just in case there are any Spiritombs on the opposing side. A couple of Power Tablet being played here. The Power Tablet gives plus 30 damage to your Fusion Strike Pokemon attacks. We're at plus 60 right now. Next is a Escape Rope, where the opponent must promote a new active Pokemon first. So just gonna promote a Cramorant over on that side, as a Mew V is promoted on the Escape Rope player's side. Mostly just thinning the hand down for Fusion Strike system here, I believe, to see if the missing pieces could be drawn without using the Forest Seal Stone. Big missing piece being the Mew VMAX, as the Forest Seal Stone V-Star Power Star Alchemy is used here. To search the deck for a card. Depending on what's in the hand, either the Mew VMAX or an Ultra Ball would be good choices here, with the Ultra Ball being able to thin those not so important cards in the hand out of the hand, so that way more cards can be drawn at Fusion Strike system. But just depends. We'll see after our opponent shuffles up the deck and gets back to play here. Lost Vacuum actually coming down first to send the already used Forest Seal Stone to the Lost Zone at the cost of Lost Zoning another card. So perfect to Lost Zone that useless VIP pass here. Okay. Mew VMAX is evolved in the active spot here, and Fusion Strike system for 3 more cards, since there are 4 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. Another Mew V found and put onto the bench. With the Mew VMAX being found and evolved in the active spot, the KO is online here. Yeah, it looks like the KO can be taken with Mew VMAX using its attack to copy the bench Fusion Strike Pokemon. I'm butchering that description here, so let me give you guys a fair explanation of what Mew VMAX attack is. I kind of forget to talk about it because it's been in our format for so long that I just assume everyone knows what it does, but that's just an assumption, and we know what assuming does. Anyways, Mew VMAX has its first attack, Cross Fusion Strike, for 2 colorless energy. To choose one of your bench Fusion Strike Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. The bench Genesect V is usually the Pokemon whose attack is copied. It has the Technoblast attack for 210 damage, and this Pokemon cannot attack during the next turn. So I think Mew VMAX with the Power Tablets here is copying the Mew V's attack, Psychic Leap, 70 damage. Then it would be minus 20 for the Double Turbo Energy. Double Turbo Energy makes the Pokemon it's attached to attacks do 20 less, so 50 damage for the Psychic Leap, and then plus 60, so 110. Yep, 110 damage from Psychic Leap, as Mew VMAX copies the bench from the bench with its Cross Fusion Strike. 110 damage on the 110 HP Cramorant, KO. And play will be continued over on the Lost Zone side, starting things off with the Flower Selecting. Comfey in the active spot uses Flower Selecting, of course, to look at the top 2 cards, send one to the Lost Zone, and keep the other. Articuno was found and put onto the bench. It has the Ice Symbol ability that gives your basic water Pokemon plus 10 damage to their attacks. Looks like Jet Energy, yep, was placed onto the bench Comfey, bringing it into the active spot, and a second Flower Selecting will be seen here. Sending a card to the Lost Zone, keeping the other. I think that Course Experiment was found there. Very nice. That supporter lets you look at the top 5 cards of the deck, keep 3 of them, and send 2 to the Lost Zone. So with this course experiment, it will leave the lost zone at 4, so we can start attacking with Cramorant for free. But at what cost? Our player's taking a pretty good look at the cards from course experiment here, trying to decide which ones to send away forever, for the rest of this game at least. There is there is a retreat already on board, so Cramorant can come up and attack at the end of this turn. But Mew VMAX just has so much HP. A couple cards sent to the lost zone there. Next is a Nest Ball that will be played that allows the player to search their deck for a basic Pokemon and put it on their bench. A second ice symbol Articuno is found, so our water Pokemon are at plus 20 damage now. Pretty much Cramorant, I think, in this deck. Cramorant's attacks will be doing that much more now. Mainly retreat into the Cramorant. And Counter Catcher is played here. Okay, Counter Catcher is an item card that can only be played whenever your opponent has fewer prize cards than you. And when you play Counter Catcher, it's like a boss's orders on an item card. Bring up one of your opponent's Pokemon from the bench to the active spot. The 2 retreat Genesect is the target here and brought into the active spot. And Cramorant will spit innocently onto it for 130 damage, thanks to the boost from the double Articuno on the bench, and play will resume over on Mew VMAX side. Just had to get the damage right there before we see what we can do after drawing a bunch of cards with Mew. So we got to get the Genesect out of the active spot. There's an attack already online with that Mew VMAX fully powered up, as a Feather Ball is played here that lets the player search the deck for a Pokemon with free retreat to add to the hand. I imagine we'll see another Mew VMAX grabbed here. Yep. Really want to get a third Genesect V onto the bench as the 5th bench space here. So gonna grab the Mew VMAX to evolve one of the 2 Mew on the bench in 2, and also thin out the deck, because we're looking for those switching cards here, or even a double turbo energy to retreat this Genesect out of the active spot. Mew VMAX evolved onto the bench. This is what that Forest Seal Stone is good to be used for, these one-off puzzle pieces to find. As Power Tablet is played and Fusion Strike System for up to 5. There we go, that third Genesect V found and put onto the bench. Ultra Ball being debated on being played here, and played to discard a couple cards, thinning them out of the hand to search the deck for a Pokemon. The other Mew VMAX could be found here and evolved, but it is also not the worst idea in the world to have a Mew V on the bench for an out to Psychic Leap. Psychic Leap, if you didn't know, does 70 damage, and you may shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it back into the deck. So it's your way of, quote, healing a heavily damaged Mew VMAX that you might have out. Second Fusion Strike System being used here to draw up to 6. We got 6 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play now. Choice Belt, I believe, being put onto one of the bench Mew VMAX, the one with no energy, of course. Spread your resources around, and it's mostly just to thin it out of the hand in this matchup, I think. And Cramorant being played. You have to discard an item card to play it. When you do, flip a coin. If heads, computer search. Search your deck for a card. Of course, the 6 was flipped. In Pokemon, players usually roll a die for a coin flip, and evens is heads, odds is tails. We got heads. We get any card out of the deck. Thanks, Cramorant. What an invention. I think we're going to get a switch card, a basic switch, or switch cart. Switch cart, healing off 30 damage from that active moving it to the bench, and Mew VMAX with the energy comes into the active spot. The third Fusion Strike system on that third Genesect V is activated here to fill up the hand with 6 cards. Alessa's Sparkle being used. With that supporter, you target 2 of your Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. Then you search your deck for a Fusion Strike energy to attach to each of those Pokemon. Since there was just one Fusion Strike energy in deck, just the one was accelerated to a bench Genesect V. Double Turbo energy attached to the Mew VMAX on the bench. It's ready to attack when its time comes. We got the double Mew VMAX powered up and out. Mew takes the KO on the opposing Cramorant, most likely with Max Miracle. Mew VMAX in the active spot uses Cross Fusion Strike to copy the bench Mew VMAX's Max Miracle attack. 130 damage. This attack isn't affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, taking the KO on the opposing Cramorant. And our Cramorant player starts their response with a Course Experiment to get some more resources. Sending 2 cards, looks like Manaphy and Battle VIP Pass, to the Lost Zone, keeping those other 3. Flower selecting being used here. Let's see if we can find some good stuff. Let's send the Heavy Ball to the Lost Zone, keep that Cramorant attacker, and put it onto the bench. As long as there's a retreat, we've got an attack here. Let's see if we can combine it with another Gust stall play. Jet Energy put onto the bench Comfey to bring it into the active spot. It uses its flower selecting ability. Looking at the top 2, but this one's a little bit of a harder choice, it seemed, as the hand is consulted. Finally, the Escape Rope will be sent to Lost Zone, the other card kept. Comfey retreats off that Jet Energy to move to the bench. The Cramorant comes into the active spot. The TM, the Technical Machine, Blindside, I think is what it is. We're going to go ahead and do some research here in the professor's lab. Looks like it's 3 and Blindside. Yep, so these Technical Machine cards, like you're seeing here, is a tool card, Pokemon tool. It can be attached. The Pokemon this card is attached, you can use the attack on this card. You still need the necessary energy to use this attack. If this card is attached to one of your Pokemon, discard it at the end of the turn. So TM Blindside, of course, gives the Blindside attack for 3 energy. This attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that have any energy, that have any damage counters on it, okay? So Cramorant can use the Blindside attack for free, thanks to its Lost Provisions ability. As long as there are 4 more cards in the Lost Zone, its attacks are free. It can use its attacks for free. And Blindside's going to do 100 damage to that benched Genesect V that has damage counters on it to take the KO on it. Our Mew player is going to take a look at this rarely played card, confirm the KO. There we go, 2 prizes for our Lost Cramorant, we'll call it, player here. As player zooms over on Mew's side, they bench a replacement Genesect V. Still got the 3. Let's see if they got anything to do. 4 prizes to 4 prizes here in this mid-game of the League Challenge. Let's see how our Mew player can respond. They have the KO, so I'm going to start things off with the Judge. Some Disruption. Disruption's always, or has been notoriously good against Lost Zone decks, as they like to slowly build and craft the perfect hand. Judge has both players shuffle their hands into their deck, and then each player draws 4 cards. Doesn't really affect Mew too much, since sometimes those cards let's say most of the time, those cards are playable that you'll get off a judge, and then you could just top the hand back off with Genesect V's Fusion Strike Systems. So let's see how this judge treats both of our players here. Already looks like there's some playable stuff in Mew's hand as they attach a Force Seal Stone to a bench Genesect V. And Fusion Strike System to draw up to 6 cards. Nothing too much to do other than continue to build the board and get ready for the next turn over on Mew's side. The board's basically already built, however, and their 2 attackers are online. The attack's ready to go. The KO's there. Just preparing for the next turn as best they can as they take the KO on the opposing Cramorant, most likely with Max Miracle. And play resumes over on the Lost Zone side. Starts things off with a flower selecting, sending Town Store to the Lost Zone, keeping that League Nest Ball and playing it in order to bring another Cramorant out of the deck and onto the bench so it can keep the attacks going this turn. So I wonder if our player is going to go for knocking out 3 Genesects as their 6 prizes for this game. Jet Energy attached to the bench Comfey. Flower selecting used. Again, this one is not a so obvious choice. The hand being consulted here, seeing which card they should send to the Lost Zone forever for the rest of this game. Alright, a TM. I think that one's Crisis Punch. Yeah, that one's sent to the Lost Zone. That new technical machine from Paldean Fates. We'll get into that one as it becomes relevant, but definitely a card you'd want to play in a Lost Cramorant deck. I imagine there's more than one as well in the deck, so I don't think that's completely off the table for the rest of this game. As Comfey retreats into Cramorant, Cramorant spits innocently on the opposing Mew VMAX for 130 damage, and play resume over on Mew's side. A Defiance Span would have been very good to have on this Cramorant here, as it'd be doing the 2-shot. But a double Turbo Energy is attached to the Mew V over on Mew's side. I see Boss's orders in hand, but Mew probably wants to KO the active Cramorant, as that's the only attacker on board right now, the biggest threat. An argument can be made for taking out a lone Comfey, but there's 2 of them out. But hey, our player says, nope, I'm going to go for the Boss's orders on that reverse hollow Comfey there. A Power Tablet being played here to boost the attack by 30 damage. Fusion Strike System for 1. Let's see, Box of Disaster in hand, so that could be played down and thinned out to continue to draw cards with Fusion Strike System. We'll see what our player decides to do as they put that Box of Disaster on a bench Genesect V with Fusion Strike Energy, second Fusion Strike System for 1 being used here. I think that's another Power Tablet. And Mew is going to actually do Psychic Leap. Okay, was that Mew damaged? Yeah, it was. Okay. So there we go. That Mew VMAX in the active is damaged, so it's going to use its cross fusion strike attack to copy the bench Mew V's Psychic Leap to take the KO on the opposing Comfey thanks to the Power Tablet being played. And that damaged Mew VMAX and all cards attached to it gets shuffled back into the deck, erasing that damage from the last turn. There is a replacement Mew VMAX on the bench ready to go, so great position for the Mew VMAX as play resumes over on the Lost Zone side. They use a flower selecting to send a Jirachi to the Lost Zone, keep that other card from the top of the deck. And let's see how they can respond. We need an attack at least. So switching into that Cramorant and Roxanne being played. Okay, attack and disruption. Roxanne, that supporter can only be played when your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining. When you play it, both players shuffle their hand into their deck. The Roxanne player gets 6 cards from the top. The opponent gets 2. Only bad thing is Mew VMAX has that Genesect V with Fusion Strike system to draw a bunch of cards and draw out of Roxanne, but either way, you still play the Roxanne and force your opponent to draw back into those answers that they need. The Genesect V came into the active spot, so that's pretty interesting. It doesn't have, or it has a 2 retreat cost, so I imagine it was promoted because a switching card or way to move out of the active spot was in hand at the end of that turn. But it just got Roxanne away, so we'll see if our Mew player can find the response. Either way, looking alright for our Lost Cramorant player, and there it is. That is what I was wondering what they played. Pat to the Peak, put down. That stadium card says Rulebox Pokemon have no abilities, so mostly, primarily those Genesect V with their Fusion Strike system is not a thing now. After the Roxanne, this is the thing our Cramorant player needed to do here. Disruption, Path, plus an attack. A KO would have been much better, but, we take what we can get. Cramorant spits innocently onto that Genesect V in the active spot for 130 damage. And let's see what our Mew players got. Mew V put onto the bench. Lost Vac. Wow. Okay. Lost Vacuum being played, sending that Mew V to the Lost Zone and that Path to the Peak as well. Fusion Strike system online and being used here, drawing up to 6 cards. We're looking for a way to get out of the active spot. Mew VMAX evolved on the bench. I think I see a double turbo in hand, so I think we've got a way to get out of the active no matter what. But let's start with the Cramorant. Discard an item, flip a coin, tails, blank card. But you got cards thinned out of the hand, so your Fusion Strike systems are that much more powerful. Let's see what else we got. And again, I'm not sure if I saw that double turbo or not, but 3 cards in hand. We can drop 3 cross fusion strikes, so I think even if the double turbo's in hand, you just try to draw into the switch card and preserve that energy for when you need it, whether it's for the retreat or the attack. But our player is going to just attach the double turbo energy to the active spot. This is fine too, because you just draw more cards with Fusion Strike system and you guarantee the retreat that you need for the KO this turn. Followed by Iono, some disruption of their own. Both players shuffle their hands, put it at the bottom of their deck, and then draw cards equal to their remaining prize cards. Mew player gets 2, Cramorant player gets 4 in this case. Fusion Strike system number 2 being used to draw up to 6 cards. Over on Mew's side, Hisuian Heavy Ball being played to look at the prize cards. Any basics there? Nope. So Hisuian Heavy Ball, instead of being switched with one of the basics and the prizes, will just go to the discard pile. But at least our player has prize knowledge now. Another Fusion Strike system to draw up to 6 cards. Genesect V in the active manually retreats into Mew VMAX. And Mew VMAX copies Max Miracle on the bench to take the KO on the opposing Cramorant. Comfey put into the active spot. Play resumes over on the lost zone side. Not sure how they come back into this game with the Mew player only having one prize card left. But first we're going to start with a Clara. Clara lets you pull 2 basic Pokemon out of the discard pile and put them in your hand. 2 basic energy as well, if they're in there, but 2 Cramorants being pulled out of the discard with that Clara and put onto the bench. But is our player just going through the motions here with Mew only having one prize card left to take? Flower selecting. Let's just see what's there on the top of the deck. Let's send that super effective glasses to the lost zone. I'm pretty sure Cramorant doesn't hit for weakness, so I wonder what we're using those glasses for. What can our lost Cramorant player put together here? I think it would just have to be stalling a Genesect again. Which, unfortunately, I think I saw another double turbo energy in our Mew player's hand currently. So yeah, just some stalling and disruption could be the only thing. Ugh. Okay, so switch cards played to move the Comfey onto the bench. Cramorant comes into the active spot. Another TM blindside attached to that active Cramorant. We're going to do 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that have any damage counters on it. That Genesect has some damage counters on it. 100 onto it, taking the KO. 2 prizes, but we all know that Mew VMAX just returned KOs for the knockout for the last prize card of the game, and good game there. What you guys think of this game and the commentary? Please let me know in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Professor's Lab.